The top one on our sidebar today that we put together before the show, but we rarely use, is Jerry Jones loves Dak Prescott. This is a very interesting thing that has come about because the conversation about the Dallas Cowboys this year is one, obviously, they stink, right? I mean, they're bad at football. Now, Gary Gilbert and Dallas Cowboys almost beat Pittsburgh Steelers, who are currently undefeated. So any given Sunday, maybe the Cowboys can snap out of it and be a good football team. But after losing Dak Prescott, after Dak Prescott could not come to an agreement with the Dallas Cowboys on a long-term deal, he got franchise tagged, and signing everybody else to a lot of money, and then bringing in Mike McCarthy, and the overall stagnant offense and bad football play and leaks from the locker room is that place is a pretty toxic place. And you would think that since you signed Mike McCarthy for the long term and he's kind of going to be your guy, that there's a chance if the locker room has turned on him already 6 weeks into this thing and he's going to be the guy you build around, there's a chance a rebuild could potentially happen down in Dallas. Now, how would you do that with the massive contracts that you've already handed out? Will you be able to trade those players away, or will you hang on around them and then build around them? That's all to be determined. But the one conversation was, will Dak Prescott be a Dallas Cowboy next year? Now, we all believe that Dak Prescott will get paid a lot of money to play quarterback somewhere next year. Now, granted, who knows what the quarterback market's going to be like. If it's anything like it was last year, that could kind of put a little bit of a wrinkle into things. But we all believe Dak Prescott's going to get a long-term deal, especially with how the Cowboys have looked since Dak Prescott has left. Dak Prescott's importance to Dallas Cowboys is being showcased even more. But would Dak Prescott be a Dallas Cowboy? Would Dak Prescott sign that long-term deal with the Dallas Cowboys, especially if the Dallas Cowboys are thinking about potentially rebuilding everything they got inside of that around Mike McCarthy's ideals, his guys, and everything like that? That's a fair conversation to be had, especially whenever things are getting leaked to media people week 6 into things about how dumb the coaches are and how bad the coaches are. You can see how the coaches potentially go like, oh, let's get all these motherfuckers out of here. Let's see what we can do with that. Now, it has come out, and Jerry Jones was asked about this just yesterday on a radio show, and his answer was very defiant, and one I think that will hopefully put that conversation to bed on whether or not Dak will be a Dallas Cowboy.
Oh, it looks like we're in line for the 3rd pick. Now, it could move up, could move down, but if it stays at 3, is it crazy to bring up the idea of taking a quarterback with the 3rd pick or the 2nd pick if you may have it?
Yes. You asked me if it's crazy to bring the idea up, and I'm answering you, yes. We're playing games here, guys, but it's not the thing to be talking about at all. You know, Dak is our quarterback.
Yeah, last time he talked to this particular host, I think he told him to shut up and let him answer. Yep. That's why the host laughed alongside him there. I think he's trying to, potentially, because that host, by the way, gets great answers out of Jerry every single week.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know who that host is. I don't know where that's from, but I want to let them know that we appreciate them every single week. They give us something out of Jerry that the world would like to know the answer to. So it might seem uncomfortable in a time to ask the question to Jerry the way you have to do it. And I understand sometimes you have to sell the laugh with a ha-ha to let him know, however you get the answer is cool. But it is interesting to hear Jerry go, Dak is our quarterback, because Jerry said that last year. Jerry said that, I think, the year before, Dak is our quarterback. Dak is our quarterback. I just want to win games. Dak is our quarterback. And no long-term deal was ever signed. Now, Dak's getting $33 million or something this year, guaranteed. I think it goes up to $37 million if he gets franchise tagged again next year. So Dak is making a lot of money, but that long-term wealth hasn't been figured out between Jerry and Dak. Jerry comes out and says Dak's our quarterback for the future. That means he's going to have to pay him. With the salary cap going down, how the fuck is he going to pay Dak while paying everybody else? Will he be able to do Andy Reid Veach this thing like they've been able to in the Chiefs? And what's the future of the Dallas Cowboys? It has Dak Prescott in it, we just learned, but everything else around it, how will they be able to figure out? Nobody knows, which is awesome that the national televised game every single weekend that involves the Dallas Cowboys will continue to be a reality show for years to come. Congrats to America's team, the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah! This is ultimately just bullshit lip service, right?
Yeah, sure does feel like it.
He says this to everyone but Dak. So, I mean, and if I were Dak, wouldn't you be like, okay, I want $60 million next year? You guys fucking suck without me. You're the laughing stock of the NFL. It just, I don't know. I don't think Dak's going to be a Cowboy.
And by the way, Dak hired an agent last year or going into last year or maybe 2 years ago or maybe his agent altogether. I don't remember. It came in, which is the agent that is not hey, team-friendly deal. Hey, you're the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to get a lot of marketing opportunities because I'm the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. That's on national TV every single weekend. His agent's no, we're getting every fucking dollar from these people. And it's hey, shout out to Dak for being able to, because we talked about how there was a contract for 150 or 200, I forget what it was, 230, whatever. It was a big number. It was on the contract. It was placed on a piece of paper in front of Dak Prescott. And Dak Prescott and his people looked at him and were like, get that fucking shit out of here. The fact that they have that ability and that type of business motto, like, hey, we're going to get every dollar we can, I think it leads to a pretty intriguing conversation. Now, would Dak get franchise tagged again? Possibly. But I think Jerry saying Dak's a Cowboy for life is very interesting because is Dak saying that? Like, are Dak's people saying that? Dak might be saying that, but how about Dak's people saying that? It's going to be an interesting situation. And for a show that goes live every single day for 3 hours, I'm very happy that that's going to be happening because that's going to give us a lot of shit to talk about for like a week and a half whenever that thing gets really contentious, which it inevitably will. And who knows how it all gets played out.
If I'm looking at the other side, though, Dak's very good. I'm a big fan of Dak. But you could go.
Boy.
I mean, they've gone 8-8. What, the past fucking 3 years with Dak? Why not go 8-8 without Dak and not have to pay a quarterback close to $40 million?
Well, Diggs, what you just said there is why the question was asked, because that is a very real thing. And Jerry, whenever he was asked about Dak Prescott's contract last year at a
Salvation Army
event, he said, we'll worry, my hands don't get cramps writing checks. I just want to win some games. And so I think Jerry's big thing is like, hey, let's win some games here. And I would assume with Dak being 8-8, 9-7, 8-8, 9-7, for whatever reason, by the way, might not be Dak's fault at all. Probably not. And I think if we're seeing anything, definitely not looking at how it's all going now. But Jerry, I don't know. Like, for instance, Mac Jones. If Mac Jones is sitting there, or the Zach Wilson kid from BYU, or the kid from North Dakota, whatever his name is, or any of them are sitting at 3. And Jerry, by the way, for all of people's flaws about Jerry, he does well drafting. Jerry Jones does well draft. It very rarely comes out that the Dallas Cowboys had a bad draft, right? It seems like he will pull the trigger on a good player. This year, who was it? It was CeeDee Lamb. And there was no reason that he should have been still sitting there. No. He makes a draft from his yacht down in Miami or whatever. Awesome. So it's like, what will they do? And does anything that any person that's involved in the NFL decision-making, anything that they say matter? No. Because they will change their tune or idea immediately upon being presented with a new set of circumstances. And if they're sitting at 3, and for some reason the number 2 overall team has a quarterback, and they take fucking Pitts from the tight end from Florida, or a defensive end or something like that who's a game changer, and you're staring down Justin Fields potentially available, what do you do then? And do you blame them for taking him whenever Dak's going to go get $200 million from somewhere else? I don't know. And does Dak want to be there? I mean, there are so many things I have to weigh out. That's why that person asking Jerry Jones that question is awesome. And that's also why the answer from Jerry means absolutely jack squat here on November 11th, 2020.